How comfortable are you with being uncomfortable? That's what I'm going to be talking about today and giving you some tips for those times when you do feel really uncomfortable and yet you know you're on the right path for you. So, hi, my name is June Morrow, and I help life coaches and light workers and spiritual entrepreneurs express more of their authentic self in their marketing and their communication strategy so they can attract more of the right people for them, the people who desperately need their services. And this is my business confessional, where each week I talk about what I'm doing that week to build my business or life lessons that I'm learning that are applicable to business. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. It is July 19th, 2022. So, my big lesson this week was about being comfortable with discomfort. So, when you are aligned, when you think about being authentic, authentic can mean that something feels natural to you, it comes easy to you, it kind of is like a natural expression of who you are. So, for example, I've always written, I've always expressed myself with the written word, and I've always been really good at it. So, my authentic self, one of the ways that I express myself is with word. Also, speaking. I've always enjoyed speaking and I enjoy being on camera. Like a lot of people don't, and that's okay, right? So those are ways that my authentic self expresses itself. But authentic doesn't always mean easy, right? Because you probably have ways that your authentic self expresses itself. Like some people love gathering groups of people together. Some people love creating graphic design or art. Some people, we have many different ways we express ourselves. But sometimes your authentic self is calling you to express yourself in a way that doesn't feel natural, right? It feels natural when you visualize it, and it feels natural in your head when you think about the end result of you doing it and being good at it. That feels natural and it feels like an aligned idea and an aligned direction. But when you go out to do it, you realize, oh my God, I'm actually not very good at this, right? Because it's something you've never done before. And this is actually the entrepreneur's journey in a nutshell. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff that we've never done before because we have a vision of making a difference and doing something, that affecting the outcome of doing all of these things. So this is what's happened with me this week is stepping into that zone of like, I'm not good at this, or I'm not, not even not good, like not good enough. So I'll tell you what happened. I have been one of my ways that I want to express myself is through songwriting. And I love writing songs and I love playing music and I love singing. And for me, playing guitar is a vehicle that I can sing, that I can express, that I can write songs through. However, my guitar skills are mediocre. They're not that great. And I don't, to be honest, put a lot of time into practicing, which is why they're not that great. So to get more comfortable, because I have this vision of me singing in front of people and I want to be in front of crowds and audiences and I want to be on stage. So to get more comfortable with this, I've been going to an open mic once a week for the past month or so. And I went to an open mic even before that, another mic, but it closed. So I've been going to this new open mic once a week for the past month or so. And the guy who runs it is really good. He's a great guitarist. The people who show up, they are generally pretty good musicians, right? Like they know what they're doing. They're all over the fretboard. They can do all different finger picking styles and jam on things. Me, I'm like strum, 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 strum. I'm just like a campfire singer at this point. I don't have those skills. And last week I walked in and the host was there and there was a new person and there was some people watching the new person and the new person was really, really, really good, like double good as the host. And the two of them were playing together. And then they finished and they were like, all right, June, you want to come up and play something? And I decided I'd practiced. I was going to play one of my new songs or like one of the songs that I'd written. And I practiced and I got up there and oh my gosh, I froze. So normally I can play like a couple songs. They let me play a couple songs because right now there aren't too many people going to this open mic. And during that one song, I was playing it, and the whole time I was not in the song. I was not executing the song. I was not feeling the song. I wasn't even concentrating on, what my hands were doing. All I was doing was hearing every mistake I was making. And in my head, as I was singing, was this dialogue saying, "You suck. look at these people. They're not even interested. They're just hoping you'll get off stage. Like, that other guy was so good. Why did you even show up? Why do you bother doing this? Right? And it was just that horrible inner critic telling me the whole song, you are awful. You don't deserve to be here. Why bother? You suck. You're bad. Right? Because I was comparing myself. Never a good idea, as we know. And yeah, and I kind of let that voice take over and take over my opportunity. And after that one song, rather than play the other songs I'd planned to play, I chickened out. I totally chickened out and I didn't play any more guitar during that open mic. And then I felt horrible about it. So I got off stage and I just wanted to go home and cry because I felt like, a little kid when you do something bad and you think that you are bad because you're a little kid and you don't know the difference between doing something bad and being bad and nobody tells you the difference. I felt that, right? I wanted to go in the bathroom and cry, but I didn't. I didn't. Instead, I did what I'm going to tell you to do because often we feel this way. Maybe you're doing a live, maybe you're doing a video, maybe you're giving a seminar, maybe you're on a sales call, maybe you're creating content or putting stuff out on social media, maybe you're in a podcast and the inner critic takes over and starts being like, you suck, why bother, you should just quit, right? We all know this voice. It's the voice of you stepping out of your comfort zone, being uncomfortable for the sake of your authentic self, for the sake of expressing your authentic self and allowing yourself to be the best person that you can be. So what do you do in that situation? Well, here's what I did. One, as soon as I got off stage, I wanted to cry. I changed my internal dialogue and I said, you know what, June? You showed up. You got on stage where a lot of people wouldn't even get on stage. You showed up in a room of really good musicians and you gave it a shot. And yeah, maybe you didn't do so great today, or maybe you did do great, so great. You don't know what all these people are thinking. You were just projecting your own insecurities onto them. But give yourself props for showing up. Anytime you do something where you step out of your comfort zone, anytime you do something that is in alignment with your vision for yourself, in alignment with your vision for the difference you want to make for your audience, in alignment with whatever is being shown to you, whatever your intuition is telling you to do. Anytime you show up for that, props, man. That is not easy. A lot of people just ignore it and then they live small lives. So that's number one. I gave myself props. Number two, that evening I got back up on stage, so to speak, but I did it in an easy way. So that's number three, is make things easy. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So I went home and I felt like, oh, I didn't have enough opportunity to be on stage, even though being on stage that day felt really awful. But the thing to do when that happens is to get right back up there, because whenever you have a breakdown like this and you keep going, you have a breakthrough. So backstory. Years ago, I used to do stand-up comedy. And I did it because I love being on stage, not because I have any desire to make people laugh. I did it actually as a challenge to myself because I like writing, I like laughing, and I like entertaining and performing for people. So years ago, I did stand-up comedy, and this situation at this open mic with the music reminded me of stand-up comedy, where I would show up and there'd be like three people in the audience and you'd have worked really hard all week on your set and there'd be nobody there to appreciate it, and they were all like people who weren't really your ideal audience anyway. It was tough. Open mics as a stand-up comic, it was tough. But I would do this and I would show up and I would see other people do this, and I would see people reach a point where they would just be like, nothing they said was funny. Everything would suck. They would hate doing stand-up comedy and it would kind of be like the worst set ever. And then they would get back up the next time and they would be brilliant, right? So I saw people who would be like, I'm going to quit. They'd decide not to quit. And then they'd get booked for some TV show, or they'd, have like the most killer set and there would be an agent in the audience or something. And this happened to me. I had a set where, there were some important people in the audience who could have booked me at an important festival, and I completely bombed. The audience did not get me. There might have been like one laugh the whole time. I went home, I cried, I cried, I cried, I cried. The next night I got up and I wrote some new material, and it was almost like a new version of me had emerged through this. And all of a sudden my stand-up was killer again. Maybe not killer. It was never really killer, but it was good, right? And it was a different version, you know? So getting back up is so important when you fall down, you know? What's that word, that song by Chumbawamba? I get knocked down, but I get up again. Nothing's ever going to keep me down. That, right? So, what I did that night, I got back up. I didn't get back up at the open mic because it was closed. It was gone. But what I did is I got up, I took my guitar, and one of my goals is to busk. Dream big, girl. I want to know 12 songs off by heart that I can busk and make $20, $30, ooh, $50. That would be a dream, with my guitar. So that's one of my dreams. So I thought the only way to do that is to get out and do it. I did not busk, but I went to a park. I went to Victoria Park here in Charlottetown, and I sat on a bench. I didn't sit on a bench with my guitar case out in front of me, so I was not quite busking, and I wasn't quite on the boardwalk, but people could hear me, and people were looking and listening as they walked by, and I played my songs. I played my songs out in public. And this is a step. So this is number 3. When something feels really uncomfortable, take baby steps. So for me, right now, busking, way too uncomfortable, right? It's the, especially after the open mic, I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that. But to practice being a little away from the boardwalk, not having the guitar case open, right? That felt comfortable. So it was like a baby step. So with you, whatever is making you feel like wherever you feel drawn to go, but you feel like, oh, I suck at this, I'm not good at this, but you feel like this is a necessary path for you to get there, take baby steps, right? What is the smallest thing you can do that would replicate the experience? Or what is the easiest thing you could do? Right? So maybe you want to send out an email, but you're not sure if the email is going to land. Well, maybe you could have a conversation with somebody, right? You could come out to a knockout on Tuesday mornings, and ask me, like, is this going to land, right? You can test it with somebody. You can send it to somebody you know, or you can put a little piece of it out on social media and see what the feedback or the reaction is, right? So just take those little baby steps and get comfortable. So there's your zone of comfort, right? This is your zone of comfort. So if it's this big, then around that, you have what's called your zone of trust, and then you've got the panic zone, right? So if you go too far out of your zone of comfort, you end up here in the panic zone. But if you work within your zone of trust, which is kind of like the circle just outside your comfort zone, then guess what happens? The zone of trust becomes your comfort zone. And then you have a new zone of trust, which is where that panic zone used to be. So once you work kind of like taking baby steps in these different zones of discomfort, your comfort zone expands and you actually grow. You grow as an entrepreneur, you grow towards that vision that your authentic self is leading you towards that thing that you feel drawn to do. That thing that maybe is easy for you to do when you're all alone, but not so easy for you to do when you're in front of people, right? And we all know that because public speaking is like the biggest fear, like more than death apparently, or less than death, but it's up there for so many people. And getting out there and being public, whew, pats on all our backs for doing this because it's not easy, right? There's so much crap comes up with being visible. So much crap. This is what we talk about in the Authentic Messaging Academy and how to push through that crap or how to allow the crap to come up and act anyway. And it's not really even about, it's not about eradicating the crap. It's about befriending the crap, recognizing that it is protecting you because it's afraid, because it's actually only 4, 3, 7, 12, 16 years old, right? It's part of you frozen in time and being the adult and leading from your authentic self. So I will continue going to this open mic. I might not get any better right away. I might get better right away. But we do know that, as I said, breakdowns precede breakthroughs. So if you're having a breakdown right now, just keep going. Get back up. Get back up. Get back up. Get back up. Yeah. So if you found this video, if you found this helpful, if you found it inspiring, in fact, you know what? I would love to know what's an area where you want to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. What's one area you want to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable? Post it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you found this video helpful, hit that like, subscribe button so more people will find videos like this. And if you want to know more about me, or if you're feeling like, I want to learn how to step out of my comfort zone in ways that aren't on social media, you can download my free training, How to Find Clients When Social Media Isn't Doing It For You. Now go out there and be uncomfortable. You got this.